You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
We thought we would, he'd be found by now. I can't give up. That's not an option for me.
It's been a year since Sarasota teenager Jabez Spann went missing. While the search continues, his family tries to hold it together. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on the 1 year since Sarasota teenager Jabez Spann went missing in the moment. But first, our top stories. We are still looking for answers about Jabez Spann. But tonight, unfortunately, we may have answers about another child. Just moments ago, the Amber Alert for the missing 2-year-old boy from Largo was canceled. Police in Largo announcing at a press conference that the body of 2-year-old Jordan Bellevue was found in a wooded area in Largo. Bellevue was disappeared after the boy's mother says she took a ride from a stranger in a white Toyota Camry. The mother says he punched her and knocked her out, and when she came to, she was in a wooded area and Jordan was missing. We'll have the latest on this story coming up tonight at 11. Tropical storm Gordon is traveling through the Gulf of Mexico, heading towards Alabama and Mississippi, while bringing heavy rain to the panhandle of Florida. With more, let's head over to ABC7's chief meteorologist, Bob Harrigan. First alert forecast. Bob.
That's the big story, too, Alan. The heavy rain is going to be the telltale sign of this storm. In fact, it will bring some strong winds. Don't get me wrong. A tropical storm force, it looks like now. There's an outside chance it could turn into a hurricane prior to the arrival on land, which will happen late tonight or on into Wednesday morning. But look at all the moisture lined up to the south and east of the actual center there. And that's all streaming on into the panhandle of Florida as well as into parts of Alabama and Mississippi tonight. And that rainfall could get as high as 12 inches. Now, we're starting to lose that visible signal of the satellite imagery, so we'll have to change it over to infrared here soon. The pressure remains at 1,000 millibars. We'll have an intermediate advisory coming up here in the next half hour or so. Top winds are at 70. It has just a little time to gain strength into a hurricane at this point. There are hurricane warnings up, though, from, again, Louisiana all the way over into parts of Mississippi tonight and Alabama. It's moving off to the northwest. It will make landfall, as I said, looks like sometime Wednesday morning, and then downgrade pretty quickly. But all that moisture that's down to the south will work its way onshore throughout the overnight and early tomorrow morning. So that flooding concern is the biggest deal, I think, with this storm. As I mentioned, some areas could get up to a foot of rainfall. It's already raining heavy in Pensacola, and more rain is on the way. You can see these feeder bands extending well south over 150 miles to the south and east of the actual center, which is right about here. It's a broad area of circulation, but we're starting to see some development on the western edge of it as well. Tonight, we had some big storms earlier across parts of Sarasota, as well as into South Sarasota County. Those have since moved on, but another line of showers starting to develop near Parrish, and this is spreading off to the northwest at 20 miles an hour, so get ready for some heavy downpours there in Parrish as well. Places to the northwest there of Manhattan now getting hit by some heavy rainfall. Well, we have Gordon out there. We also have Florence that's way out there in the Atlantic. Most of the models agree in this scenario off to the northwest, but there are a few. The UK Met in one in particular heading off more to the west and having a possibility of impact in the United States down the road, but that remains to be seen. The European now has agreed with the GFS taking it off more to the northwest. We'll have the details on all the tropics and our weather as well, with that east to southeast wind continuing. Good news as far as red tide goes. More on that coming up a little bit later. We also have the First Alert weather app you can download for free. Just go to your app store, do a search for WWSB First Alert Weather, and download that, as well as our news app. Both are free, and we'll be updating those throughout the course of the remainder of this hurricane season and beyond. Alan?
Bob, thank you. It has been a year to the day since Jabez Spann went missing, and tonight we are still asking the same questions. What happened to him and why? ABC7's Dwayne Lindo is here with more. Dwayne.
And Alan, no one wants to know more than the family. Police estimate they've received about 100 tips regarding the possible whereabouts of Jabez Spann. It's all led to dead ends. The family has even hired a private investigator, hoping to get answers as soon as possible.
While many Suncoast residents spent time with family throughout the Labor Day weekend, Sarasota mother Tawana Spann marks a year without her son.
We thought we would, he'd be found by now.
Jabez Spann has been missing since Labor Day of last year, and while the search and investigation continues, his family tries to hold it together.
They just single-handedly destroyed a family.
The Sarasota Police Department renewed its call for help finding Jabez Spann, who would now be 15. Investigators and Spann's mother believes Jabez may have witnessed the murder of 31-year-old Travis Combs a week prior to the disappearance.
We have too many children for them to be running around here like that, because if they feel the need where they might, you know, if another incident happens and your child sees it, then it possibly could be another child.
We really want some leads from the community would be the best. People that know anything, any minute detail, names, places, anything.
Sarasota police have interviewed multiple people since opening the case last year. They are also collaborating with the FBI and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, offering a $50,000 reward for information on the case.
There's no piece of information that's too small. There's no piece of information that's too insignificant. We'll take anything we can at this point because, you know, big things often start from small places.
Sarasota Police Lieutenant Scott Mayforth says they have been receiving information from the community, but feels someone in the community knows something about Spann's disappearance.
We're pursuing the leads as soon as they come in. We still are receiving random leads on a sporadic basis. At this point, nothing is panned out, but as soon as the lead comes in, it is immediately investigated and vetted. You know, we're trying our best to try and find, you know, Jabez and do everything we can, and we know the family is certainly hurting, and it's very frustrating from a law enforcement standpoint for us to not have a resolution to this case yet.
Even former New York City Police Commissioner Anthony Schembri is in agreement. He says at this point, all that's needed is a sliver of information.
Can someone come forward, give information, not become a witness, okay, but give you a lead where you could take your next step?
And while the Spann family continues to work with a private investigator, it's with each day that passes, Spann says not seeing the boy she's raised for 14 years is eating her up.
We miss you. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry.
On September 8th, Tawana Spann is holding a community event at Fred Atkins Park in Sarasota to raise awareness about missing children. 2 days later, she'll be in Tallahassee for a statewide event, the Missing Children Ceremony.
Dwayne, thank you. In the moment, the Sarasota police at the trapezoid. Where is Jabez?
All hands on deck. What's up? I want to point out 3 tips for using the home computer more safely. Point your way.
First, stop. Make sure your software is up to date and that you've password protected your computer's login and Wi-Fi connection.
Next, think before visiting a site, opening attachments, or clicking on links.
Then connect, knowing you're helping make the web safer for you
and for everyone. Make Stop, Think, Connect part of your daily online routine.
Excuse me a minute. Hi, Dad. No, don't try to get up.
Hi, I'm Julie, a right-at-home caregiver. And if I'd been caring for Tom's dad, I would have noticed some dizziness that could lead to balance issues. That's because I'm trained to report any changes in behavior, no matter how small. So Tom could have peace of mind.
We'll be right there. We have to go.
Hey, Tom, you should try Right at Home. They're great for us.
The right care, right at home.
All 2018 Accord inventory is on clearance for just $249 a month. During the Honda Summer Spectacular event, get an Accord, the North American Car of the Year, with tons of standard features. Honda sensing, multi-angle camera, alloy wheels, and a turbocharged engine for less than the competition. Just $249 a month. Or save thousands with 1.9% financing this week at your local Honda dealer.
Mark Zupan, part of the U.S. Paralympic rugby team. In my game, movement is everything. I get frustrated when my move is blocked, especially when that guy has no right to be there, even just for a minute. I love a challenge, but I don't like to play this game every day.
A message from the United Spinal Association.
I'm Anne. I'm a scientist.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me and me help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
what could be treasure.
Pal's my most advanced android.
This is awesome.
You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Every time you purchase a fishing license or register your boat, you're helping to preserve our nation's coastlines, lakes, rivers, and streams, protecting memories for generations to come. Learn how your participation in boating and fishing can help the environment at takemefishing.org/conservation.
Welcome back. It has been a year since we got to know Jabez Spann through the eyes of his friends and family. By all accounts, he's a good kid, played football, didn't get into trouble. The 14-year-old left his family's Labor Day party and has not been seen since. What happened? Did he witness a murder, as has been reported? There have been community searches. Police have not given up. The FBI has been brought in to help. We've done show after show to keep Jabez's story in the news, but 1 year later, still no answers. And joining us for more are Captain Jonathan Todd and Detective Megan Buck of the Sarasota Police Department, ABC7 reporter Dwayne Lindo, and joining us by Skype is Professor Bill Kemper, who teaches criminology at USF Sarasota Manatee and teaches classes about cold cases. This is one of the most vexing situations that we've had in Sarasota in recent years. What can you tell us in terms of what do we know about what happened to Jabez that can be publicly reported?
We know that he went missing on September 4th of last year. He's currently missing, and I believe that there's people in the community that do know what happened to him and are not coming forward.
And Captain, we have reported that there may be information out there that he witnessed the murder of somebody else several days prior to that. Is it the police department's belief that had everything to do with his own disappearance, or is that unclear still?
It is unclear. We don't have any definitive information or evidence that would tell us, that he did witness it. Obviously, the proximity to where he was last seen, and as well as the time frame, kind of piques our curiosity, and we're certainly not going to exclude that as being as linked with his going missing.
And Dwayne, obviously, you've gotten to know the family. You've interviewed Jabez's mother, Tawana, and a year later, I mean, we saw her in your story, but how is she dealing with this, coping with this?
Look, the family is exhausted. They've conducted numerous interviews with media all over the Tampa area, with us as well. We've done show after show, and they're at the same place they were a year ago. I mean, they're still looking for their son. The grandmother's distraught, the aunts, uncles, and especially the mother. I mean, she's in tears every time we speak to her. So I think the point is she just wants to, at this point, find her son.
Bill, how much more difficult is it to find answers to disappearances like this so far after a person has gone missing?
The RAND report just gave a study on cold cases, and they interviewed 1,050 police chiefs, and out of them, only 7% of the police chiefs surveyed have working homicide investigations, and they claim about 1 out of 5 are solved, and that's with small amounts. 7% of the 1,000 some odd police chiefs that have cold cases. So the big problem is coming forward, and I guess we'll talk about that a little later.
Okay. Our conversation on the search for Jabez Spann continues right after we get a check on the first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. Right now we're watching the Sarasota Bay webcam from the Van Wezel, and you can see we've had some brief showers, some heavy rain, even some thunderstorm activity earlier this afternoon, and now we're still seeing some showers, mainly offshore here of downtown Sarasota, but they're still onshore in places across the Sun Coast. You can see a little peak of the sunshine beyond those clouds, but all in all, this band of showers kind of feeding into Gordon right now, which is still a tropical storm, but it's going to bring heavy rainfall right into the Panhandle. It's already doing so, and into Alabama and Mississippi. They could see up to a foot of rain. The actual low pressure, the center, is right there. You can barely see it with some deep convection trying to develop on the western edge and the northern edge, indicating the system's trying to get a little bit better organized. We have this secondary circulation. You can see this rather broad area of low pressure right there, but the main center is right there. It's pushing to the northwest at 15 miles an hour, but those bands of moisture continue to feed right on in, especially east of the storm center, which is known as the dirty side or the right side of the storm of movement, and that's going to be an issue, I think, over the upcoming at least 12 to almost 24 hours as all this moisture continues to stream in that direction. Some of the banding features trying to develop here along the west coast of Florida. We've had some heavy rainfall at times. A few brief showers still linger over portions of Parrish into Manatee County, pushing to the northwest at 15 to 20 miles an hour. Elsewhere, these have just popped up recently near Port Charlotte, south of Northport, and near Punta Gorda. So expect a few brief showers still possible through the next couple of hours, and the day's energy will be used up from the previous storms, and for a futurecast indicating that 1 or 2 showers up into around 9 or 10. Most of the activity over by midnight. Then we'll see fair skies. Some slightly drier air is going to move in tomorrow, and so our rain chances will be lowering. We'll still have a few showers around, but not nearly as much as you would expect during this time of year. By Thursday, though, we'll see that moisture increase again and better chances for showers and storms, bringing some locally heavy rainfall at times. We're going to stay with this easterly wind, too, and that means the harmful impacts from red tide will stay mainly offshore. We're not seeing the big wave action with Gordon that you would like to see kind of churn up the water and disperse that red tide at all levels of the water column, but bigger storms will be moving through, and the east wind will be with us, it looks like, for the remainder of the weekend and into next week as well. Well, the enhanced satellite imagery is certainly showing a large plume of heavy thunderstorms moving into Alabama and the panhandle of Florida. Well, Tropical Tracker is showing a different storm out here. This is Florence, one that's in the open waters of the Atlantic, having no impact on land at this point, and it looks good now. The European forecast model was suggesting just a day ago that it was going to stay on a more westerly course and have an impact on the U.S., say in 10 days from now. European now is starting to agree with most of the models, taking it off into the open waters of the Atlantic, although there are still a few, the UK Met in one particular, that is showing it more westerly. So if that one falls in line, then we'll feel a little bit better that this storm is going to stay out there in the open waters of the Atlantic, but it bears watching nonetheless. Top winds are at 85 miles an hour. It could weaken a little bit in the next couple of days and then re-strengthen back to a Category 1 hurricane. And we are watching another area. This is the peak of hurricane season, 10th being the actual day, but 80% chance developing in the next 5 days, heading off to the west, northwest. Long-range models indicate that that too will be an open water storm, just one for shipping interest mainly. 77, we have some high clouds around. It's cooled down because of the rain, but it was hot today. 92, well above the average of 89. Not close to the record, though. For boaters, winds out of the east will start off at 10 knots and then northeast at 5 knots in the afternoon, a light chop on the bays and inland water. So our rain chance lessens a little bit tomorrow at 40%, and we bounce back up and stay pretty high right through the next 7 days. In fact, by Tuesday still, a good chance for scattered afternoon and evening thunderstorms, high temperatures pretty close to seasonal averages. Alan will be back with his guests right after this. Stick around.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call, and you cannot be turned down for any reason. Even if you have health problems or are living on a fixed income, guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance policies could work for you with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
My mom didn't have life insurance and the cost all fell on me. And that's expensive. We're still paying for that.
Yeah, we're still paying for that.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now. In one phone call, you can help prepare your family with protection amounts up to $25,000. There are no medical tests or health questions. And remember, you cannot be turned down for any reason. In fact, TruStage policies are already protecting over 18 million Americans. And rates are designed to be affordable, starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease.
When I leave, everything will be taken care of for them.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now. for a free, no-obligation quote. TrueStage offers plans to fit your budget with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage. Call 1-800-218-4991 now.
Many websites selling medication may look professional and legitimate, but the vast majority of sites selling prescription drugs are doing so illegally. Criminals use websites to sell counterfeit medications that may contain life-threatening toxins. Dot Pharmacy is a website verification program that helps you identify safe and trustworthy online pharmacies. Purchasing medicine online can be safe and easy. Just look for pharmacy to the right of the dot in website addresses.
I used to dread getting up and going to work.
I was done with the corporate grind. I was tired of being a starving artist.
And I started looking around for a business that I believed in, and I kind of wanted to do something a little more green.
My SCORE mentor helped me take the first step.
He helped me create a business plan and helped me implement it.
They've really taught me how to think big.
SCORE helped me to make the unimaginable possible, all for free. I'm here because of SCORE.
I'm here because of SCORE.
Get your free business mentor at score.org.
Welcome back. It has been 1 year since Jabez Spann went missing, and joining us for more are Captain Jonathan Todd and Detective Megan Buck of the Sarasota Police Department, ABC7 reporter Dwayne Lindo, and joining us by Skype, Professor Bill Kemper, who teaches criminology at USF Sarasota Manatee. And Captain, let me again start with you. You know, we talked that there is no definitive link between that murder that happened a couple of days ago, but there were rumors of it. Do police believe that they have, that you have talked to everybody involved in that case in terms of getting as much information out of them in terms of Jabez, or where do we stand with that?
Yeah, I mean, the detectives that were involved in the Travis Combs homicide worked hand in hand with Detective Buck and a couple of the other detectives that were working on the Jabez case. All the interviews were vetted, and we feel pretty confident that everybody we have spoken to, we've asked the pertinent questions, and revolving around the missing young man as well.
And Megan, is it your impression that people are involved in that situation are just not talking, or when you say that people know something, it is other people unrelated to that case?
It could be both. Me and Detective Lassiter, who's working the Travis Combs homicide, go on all interviews together as much as possible, because if they are related, we want to know the details. We have people talking but not saying enough, not identifying people they're hearing this from or people that are telling them information. So we're trying to follow as much as we can, but then we get to dead ends because we don't know where to go after the information ends. Like, who told them this? We don't know that because they won't tell us.
Is it one of those situations, and I know police encounter this pretty often, that you think you know what happened, but all the information is just not there?
We have different scenarios we have come up with. No evidence-based scenarios, but scenarios from what people have told us. We just have not been able to prove any scenario.
And Dwayne, I know the family had searches around in different areas around here that went on for months, and they brought in volunteers from around the Tampa Bay area, from Pinellas County, Polk County. Are those searches still taking place, or without any kind of direction, is there very little that they can do?
Those searches are still taking place. They hired a private investigator to try to conduct various searches. Where those searches are, they weren't really specific, but they're still searching. There's still folks in the community trying to help in terms of trying to get information from members in the community. It's tough for the family because people just aren't talking. Some people are providing a little bit of information, but it's not enough to find out where Jabez is.
And Bill, let me ask you this: with a lack of physical evidence and the passage of time, how more difficult does this become for investigators?
Well, the problem with the investigators is people are generally have a fear of problems against them and their family. They fear going to the court to testify. They just trust the police officers, and they just don't plain want to get involved. And then we got the where they might see something, then they decide not to do nothing about it. So the witness refusal of problems is a big problem. They just don't want to get involved. They're secure of life for their safety, their family. Don't want to get involved in this thing.
Okay, we are just getting warmed up. Our conversation on the search for Jabez Spann will continue after a quick break. Stay with us.
We've been fighting the war on drugs for a long time. We answer the phone 24/7, 365 days a year. On a busy night, we answer hundreds of calls. This war on drugs needs our intervention.
Since 2014, Addiction Hope and Helpline has helped people struggling with drugs and alcohol.
When the phone rings, we help people when they need it the most. When we get a caller into treatment, it feels right. It feels good. It's a blessing.
If you're struggling, drinking, using, and need to get clean, don't suffer alone in silence. Call Addiction Hope and Helpline.
Our people understand, and many are also in recovery. Call for support and strength. You can call for someone who can't or isn't willing. It's an act of love. Together we can help you beat this thing and erase addiction from your vocabulary once and for all.
Call 800-871-1644. 800-871-1644.
A policeman stopped.
Yeah, it was the lady parked next to me.
I called my wife.
My dad got up in the middle of the night.
My neighbor helped me out.
I called a tow truck.
Anyone can jumpstart your car, but for saving $20 on X2 Power car batteries, there's no one like Batteries Plus bulbs.
I'll install it myself.
I'd like you to do it.
Visit batteriesplus.com for a store near you.
Imagine a world filled with pillow fights, playgrounds, and the search for the perfect climbing tree. Every kid deserves that world, but 1 in 5 kids in America struggle with hunger. At No Kid Hungry, we're committed to creating a world where every kid eats healthy food every day. We raise funds, we help families, and we lift up communities.
They are the greatest fighting force the world has ever seen. But what does it take to bridge the distance and keep them connected to family, home, and country? What does it take to strengthen our service members so they can be the greatest force for good in the world? It takes a force. Be a force behind the forces. Give today at force.uso.org.
Each day, researchers make discoveries that bring us closer to the moment when all cancer patients can become survivors. Their progress is made possible with the help of clinical trials. Clinical trials are the brightest torch researchers have to light their way towards better treatments. And if you've been diagnosed with cancer, they may be your brightest ray of hope. Speak with your doctor and visit standuptocancer.org/clinical trials to learn more. Together, we can stand up for all of us.
My name is Blake. I received a heart transplant when I was 2 weeks old. I play defense for the Red Hot Tornadoes. Sometimes my heart starts pounding like faster and faster as I go. I know I have someone else's heart inside me. It makes me feel happy because someone was generous enough to give me a second chance to live.
This gift of life was made possible by an organ donor. Imagine what you could make possible. Sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
You're watching ABC7 News at 7:30.
Welcome back, everyone. It's been a year since Jabez Spann went missing, and joining us for more are Captain Jonathan Todd and Detective Megan Buck of the Sarasota Police Department, ABC7 reporter Dwayne Lindo, and joining us by Skype, Professor Bill Kemper, who teaches criminology at USF Sarasota Manatee. He joins us from Michigan. And Captain, let me start with you again. Is it helpful when we do broadcasts like this in terms of getting new tips coming in from people that you may not have heard from before?
It is. Yeah, it certainly keeps the community awareness out there, and certainly could facilitate new leads coming in.
And Megan, in terms of rewards out there, we reported, I believe, $50,000 in terms of reward money out there. We know the FBI and the FDLE is involved. There are cases that that get a lot of national attention. And I'm thinking about Tyler Perry and what he did today in terms of offering I think it was $250,000 for reward, $200,000 in another Florida case. In fact, this is what he said today.
When I first offered the $100,000 reward asking for information, we have not gotten any leads. I'm raising that reward to $200,000 for information. $200,000 for information that will help lead to the conviction of who we believe to be the culprit in this, which was Steve Culkin.
Now that's another case in another part of Florida, but how often does monetary rewards like that really help detectives in terms of solving cases?
It helps a lot. We got a lot of tips once the reward was up to $50,000. Of course, an increase would always help, but it might not also. I mean, if there's only a handful of people that actually know what happened, they might not talk for any amount of money.
And Bill, in your experience as an investigator, you know, I would imagine that police can get leads close to the area where a person has gotten missing, but also in the communities very, very far away. How often does that happen?
Quite a bit. We do get tips, but after a year, like in the cold case files, they pretty much dry up. The reward money makes a little temptation, but if they have fear of their life, $50,000, sometimes they feel it's further.
And Dwayne, you mentioned to us before that the family has hired its own private investigator. What is the focus of their investigation, and why are they going the private investigator route, where we know routinely that, you know, Sarasota police are on top of this?
Well, the whole point is they want to exhaust every way possible to try to find their son. They said that, I know the mom, Tawana Span, says that working with Sarasota police has been great. They've been doing everything they can, but they want to exhaust every possible way to try to find their son. And also, I guess, surveying different areas where he may be, you know, they think that, you know, he may be.
You know, we get all sorts of comments when we do this story. And if you could just talk to people who are watching this right now, some of whom may say he may have just run away from home. I mean, when people say that, you know, you're shaking your head, Megan.
Well, you know, we hope that's the case. We really do. If that's the case, you know, Jabez, your family and the community really want you to come home. We're all concerned about you, and we certainly hope that is the case. Again, I think the show and the community awareness hopefully will generate some leads, and we can figure out and hopefully find him safe somewhere.
Megan, what is counterproductive? Because over the course of the last year, we have seen all sorts of rumors out there. We've seen a lot of private investigators out there not connected to the case, offering up speculation. Is that counterproductive, or could that in some ways be helpful?
It's very counterproductive because they involve different stories and rumors, for the most part, is really what it is. Rumors that spread then to the community that then get made into deeper rumors, and people start believing them, and then they, you know, come to the police and say, well, this is what I heard, when it was really just a situation or a scenario that someone brought on themselves. And we have gotten that several times.
Bill, when there are cases like this out there, are there all sorts of national organizations that kind of are there as resources for local authorities in terms of trying to help these cases? Where are we with that?
Well, I think that the community service that we had in prior things with the community went out. And also, if I could touch on what the captain says, we got what we call victimology. And victimology is, I see him 6 to 7 days with friends. During that time, I just wonder if he couldn't have been a victim of some kind of street crime, such as robbery or there. He could have been, rather than this murder, alleged murder, he could have been a victim of some type of crime against him. And that's what occurred. We have to kind of look into other areas such as victimology, because there is 6 or 7 days where he certainly talked to people, he certainly was all about the community, and he couldn't have been a victim of a crime. Or like the captain says, hopefully just left the state to hide.
Right. And Captain, the bottom line is we don't know.
We don't know. We don't know. You know, we're finders of fact, and we follow the leads as they come in. conjecture really doesn't help any of us in this investigation. So we, as the leads come in, that's why it's so important, and a program like this hopefully can generate some new leads that come in, and we follow them to the end.
Megan, there's just so much we could implore the community to call in and say something, but speak directly to the entire community right now, because you said at the outset, someone out there knows something. What would you like those people to know?
They can call me. They can call my desk line. They can call Tawana. They can call my cell phone. I'll meet with them. I'll meet with anyone wherever they want to meet. No one needs to know that we even meet up. I just want to know what happened to this child. We need it for the family, for Tawana, and for Miss Tillery.
Right, and Dwayne, that family is sitting there watching this tonight. A year has gone by. I would imagine they're still not only searching for answers, but trying to figure out what they can do.
Like I said, the family is distraught, exhausted. They've gone through every means to try to comb through the community. As I mentioned, hire a private investigator, coordinate or, cooperate with Sarasota police to try to figure out anything or try to get any answer. And that's what they're doing. They'll keep doing it until he is found.
And every few months we get some kind of lead that something may be going on. I remember a couple of months ago a body was found, and there's wild speculation about whether this can be connected to this case or not. Captain, we talk about how you're cooperating with FDLE and the FBI. What do those agencies provide you in terms of resources that could be useful?
Well, as you said, it's the resources, the manpower, the technology. They've been along with us every step of the way, and we couldn't thank them more. As you talked about before, getting the message out on more of a national level, they certainly can help facilitate that as well.
How?
Well, they reach more markets than we do. They get the message out through crime links and through the media.
Right, and a detective, we've talked about all the physical searches that have been done around here. Are there any places to search or that still have not been done, or have we exhausted that?
We have not exhausted it. We have searched a ton of places between Manatee, Sarasota, the surrounding counties and areas. As leads come in, we do search new areas. Of course, I can't divulge what those are, but any new lead of any area, we will be there. We have canines that come along with us at a spur of a moment, no matter what time, day or night, they are willing to come in and help us.
Okay, we have to take another quick break, and we'll be back for final thoughts in a moment, so stay with us.
I heard about the Dotole Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotole Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was. I can tell you that you will not find a finer, more professional team of clinicians anywhere in the world.
So, how many of us feel completely confident about our financial future? Let's hear some specifics. Yes, go ahead.
I don't want to be a burden to my kids. When my husband died, it took almost all of our savings to give him a proper funeral. I honestly don't know if there's enough to bury me, let alone cover expenses should something happen.
Okay. Let's talk solutions. One thing you may want to get in place is a guaranteed whole life insurance policy from United of Omaha Life Insurance Company, which is a Mutual of Omaha company. This is affordable coverage, which provides a cash payment which can cover funeral expenses, bills, and other financial needs. Most payments are on their way within 24 hours. Yes, sir.
I need medical exams, things like that.
No medical exams. If you're between the ages of 45 and 85, you can call this number, or you can go online and apply for coverage up to $25,000. United of Omaha Guaranteed Whole Life Insurance. Call or go online now.
Attention. On January 1st, 2018, the United States Tax Cut Act officially became law. This law also changes Obamacare. If you are uninsured or struggling to afford your current health insurance, there is now immediate relief. Health insurance that's not high-priced Obamacare is now available. Call the Health Insurance Helpline now. It's free. The cost for health insurance has been a serious problem in America, but now the law has changed. So many people don't get the insurance they need because they just don't call. Don't spend money you don't have to spend. Call now. It's free. If you are uninsured or unable to pay for ACA coverage, call the Health Insurance Helpline now. Get what you deserve. Call to see if you qualify for health care or dental coverage that starts immediately. Don't delay. Call now. It's free. Call 800-307-8167. 800-307-8167. Call 800-307-8167 now.
Oh, look! A bouquet of lump-livered drolls.
We went to a real school to show that bullying should be history.
You monkey-elbowed pockmarks. What a bunch of beef-witted pig nuts.
On Monday, October 1st, let's all stand up for World Day of Bullying Prevention by rocking a blue shirt. Together, let's make bullying a thing of the past. Go blue and get your blue shirt at stompoutbullying.org.
Our guest joining us right now for final thoughts. And Bill, I'm going to start with you. How unusual is this case in terms of that a year after the fact, investigators are still dealing with somebody who is, especially somebody who is a young teenager, is missing and no sign of them?
Well, like I said earlier, it's the fear factor. But I would like to make a closing comment that I had real good results as an investigator when we would tell people on, in fact, ABC7 in Detroit, to use the tip line, or something I had very good success with, is to find a Catholic priest who they can tell the story to, tell what they know. The Catholic priest, under canon law, is completely confidential, but with permission, he can go to the police. I had much success several times for Catholic priests that I worked with. A lot of times they're afraid to come forward to the police or for fear, but the clergy is open, and the Catholic priest really has confidentiality.
Dwayne, this is a tight-knit community, and there are a lot of people, in churches involved in this situation. Have people gone to churches, and has there been a lot of talk in congregation in terms of finding help to find this young man?
I don't know specifically if there's been any talks with the community and the church regarding this specific case, but I do know that, the people that I know within the community, God-fearing, but in terms of the church or the community talking about this case specifically, I don't really hear about it. And I think, just to add on to that, I think, everyone here mentioned that there's a fear of retaliation if someone knows something, there's fear of retaliation if they do say something. So I guess that would be a great way to go in terms of talking to a pastor or a church member.
Megan, I would imagine that you have contacted area pastors, and I know there has been some stories out there involving information coming to the police department, but is that something that may be worthwhile as we go along with this investigation, in terms of, go to somebody in the community that you feel comfortable talking to, because obviously there's a family out there who has a missing son, and the entire community wants him found.
Oh, exactly, and go to whoever they want to go to. Eventually that will end up with me, and eventually I could talk to them down the road, but just as long as someone says something to someone.
And Captain, I know we cannot predict the future here. We can't say that a year from now that we're going to have this case solved. But I would imagine it is your hope that you get that lead that comes along. And I know in cases like this, it could come today or it could come tomorrow.
It could, and most of the folks that work in our division are parents, and we can't imagine the anguish that this family is feeling. It keeps us driving forward, trying to find Jabez. As I said earlier, a family and a community is really grieving over this young man.
All right. Final word is, folks, if anybody knows anything out there, please call Sarasota Police and put this family's concerns to rest. Before we go, we want to share with you what some of our viewers had to say about last night's show on the possibility of Russian hacking of Florida's election system. Senator Bill Nelson claims the Russians have access to Florida's election systems. He did not offer evidence, and when asked, he claimed it was classified. This brought a lot of criticism from people like Governor Rick Scott. So we went to Facebook to hear what you found about the Russia hacking and our election systems concerning. And Michael says, better safe than sorry. Doreen says, don't think about it at all. Joni says the FBI and other agencies said there is evidence. What do you benefit from lying? And John says it's just the same Democrat strategy that they have continued to use since Hillary lost, and then taken into consideration that the FBI and DHS both have said there is no evidence. Nope, not worried at all. John, it's important to know what you're talking about. The FBI and DHS says there is not evidence the Russians are hacking Florida's election system right now. The FBI, DHS, CIA, and the entire U.S. intelligence community have concluded that Russia hacked the Democrats to try to influence the election and even infiltrated state election systems, including in Florida. That was the conclusion by Obama's people, and that is the conclusion of Trump's own people. Got it? If you'd like to join the conversation on tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/MySuncoast. We want to thank our guests for being here tonight. Captain Jonathan Todd and Detective Megan Buck of the Sarasota Police Department, ABC7 reporter Dwayne Lindo, and joining us by Skype, Professor Bill Kemper, who teaches criminology at USF, Sarasota, and Manatee. When we return, the hearings for future Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh beginning today, but things didn't go exactly as planned. We'll have the details, but right now, let's get the final check on our first alert forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Alan, this is our tower cam looking out over Sarasota Bay right now. Pretty intense earlier with some storms around. Now you can see some breaks in the clouds, but the clouds are moving off toward the northwest, indicating we still have that nice southeasterly flow, which is blowing some of the harmful impacts of that algae bloom off into the Gulf of Mexico. This is a tower cam up in the Pensacola we're going to go to right now. A live feed from again, WEAR, and look at the waves crashing on shore near Pensacola. The rain has been nonstop there for the last couple of hours. This from Tropical Storm Gordon, which continues to lash much of the lower Mississippi Valley from Louisiana eastward over to the Florida Panhandle. And this is going to be nonstop rain, it looks like, for at least through tonight and tomorrow morning as Gordon continues to push onshore there. As far as we're concerned, you can see that system quite clearly, the rotation, the circulation right there, set to make landfall late tonight. It could be a hurricane. And again, we're waiting for the next advisory, which is an intermediate advisory to come out at 8 o'clock. The heavy storms that we saw earlier are offshore now, pushing away from the coastline. But the big storms continue to pile on in right there into Pensacola near Interstate 10, and then places to the south. And the center appears to be right there, which is still about 60 miles to the south, basically southeast of Mobile, heading off into a northwesterly direction. Starting to see some convection developing right around the center as well. The live radar sweep not showing much on the east coast. That's a result of some drier air that is lined up, and it's going to push into our area tomorrow. So not as many storms anticipated for us tomorrow as these storms move through. We have some showers still, though, popping up here and there near Inglewood, also near Port Charlotte and near Northport. So this activity will continue to pop up now and again in isolated areas for the next couple of hours, and then things should shut down fairly significantly after, say, 9, 10 o'clock tonight. And that rain pretty heavy, though, heading toward Venice. Elsewhere, things near Parrish have come to an end. So the futurecast shows that. We'll see a few isolated showers up until around 9, 10, and then fair after midnight. A few showers tomorrow, not as many, and we didn't have a lot today, but there won't be as many tomorrow as a result of some drier air in place. There'll be a few, don't get me wrong, but more so on Thursday, as a little bit more moisture comes back into play, and an upper level low will spin by, which will enhance some of the storms, so they could be rather strong. But all eyes are focused on Gordon right now as it heads off into Alabama and Mississippi tonight. Well, out into the Atlantic, this is Florence. This is the latest forecast path and track from the National Hurricane Center. Staying to the east of Bermuda in the next 5 days. As I said earlier in the show, there are some models still with a more westerly course, but most of the models are coming into agreement that it will stay out in the open waters of the Atlantic. Right now, 77. The relative humidity at 96%. We have a light wind at north at the airport anyway. High pressure continues to dominate the weather off the Carolina coast, and with that high in place, that high pressure system will again stay pretty much where it is and bring us that east to southeasterly wind, which will keep us in those afternoon and evening storms for the next 5 days. Hot tomorrow all the way up into Cleveland. Expected high 92 degrees, up near 90 near Toronto as well. East to northeast winds at 5 to 10 knots tomorrow. Seas will be running 1 to 2 feet and a light chop on the bays and inland waters. There's a chance for rain tomorrow, 40%. There'll still be a few around. Better chances, though, as we head into Thursday and Friday and into the weekend with typical afternoon and evening variety of storms. High temperatures close to seasonal averages. Alan will be back with primetime headlines right after this. Stick around.
If you think it's hot outside, just wait until you see even hotter savings inside. Only at Rugs As Art Hot Summer Savings Sale event will you find the lowest prices on a vast selection of stunning rugs, furniture accents, and accessories. This special event only happens once a year, so hurry in before the best selections are gone. The Hot Summer Savings event ends soon, so don't miss out on the best prices ever. Rugs As Art, Sarasota's only area rug superstore.
Sarasota Oxygen and CPAP is the largest locally owned CPAP supply company in the area. Is it time to replace your old equipment? The staff at Sarasota Oxygen and CPAP can show you the most up-to-date CPAP equipment and supplies to meet your sleep apnea needs, including portable travel devices and the SoClean automatic CPAP sanitizer. We serve all of Southwest Florida, giving the highest quality of care with the finest CPAP equipment. Please visit our website, sarasotacpap.com.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TruStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
The day you lose your strength is the day you lose your independence. Muscle is lost with age, affecting your energy, balance, and mobility. Before you know it, you're depending on others just to get through the day. But you can reverse and prevent muscle loss. Introducing MyoHealth, a revolutionary proven approach to increased muscle strength and function in as little as 30 days. Live life on your terms with more energy and confidence.
After a serious health issue put me down, MyoHealth's getting me back up again.
I'm doing activities that I haven't done for a long time. It really works.
MyoHealth is a safe, natural dietary supplement, the result of decades of research and 24 human clinical studies. You can live stronger at any age with greater strength, mobility, balance, and energy. Call or go online now and take the MyoHealth 30-Day Strength Challenge.
Checking primetime headlines, it was a fiery start to Judge Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation hearing on Capitol Hill. Protests broke out in the gallery, and Democrats asked for the hearing to be adjourned before Kavanaugh even gave his opening remarks. ABC's Janae Norman joins us from Capitol Hill, where she is following the latest.
A firestorm ignited on Capitol Hill. Protesters heckling Brett Kavanaugh. The situation getting so bad, his daughters were escorted out. Democrats calling to end the Supreme Court confirmation hearing before it even began.
Chairman, I move to adjourn. Directly from Judge Kavanaugh.
That request denied, and Republicans condemning the outburst from protesters.
Frankly, these people are so out of line, they shouldn't even be allowed in the doggone room.
But one thing senators could agree on, the start to Judge Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation hearing was unprecedented.
This is something I've never gone through before in 15 Supreme Court nominations.
This is my 9th hearing, and I think we've got to look at this. These are very unique circumstances.
Democrats lambasting an 11th-hour document dump of 42,000 pages on Kavanaugh, provided after the end of business day the night before the hearing.
For the record, that's a rate of 7,000 pages per hour. That's superhuman.
Yeah. Republicans pushing back against Democrats' claim they don't have enough documents on Kavanaugh, arguing they have more documents than the last 5 Supreme Court nominees combined. And eventually, Kavanaugh getting to speak for himself.
My judicial philosophy is straightforward. A judge must be independent and must interpret the law, not make the law.
Today's hearing almost serves as a microcosm for the deep political divide around the country and the chaos that can lead to. A new ABC News Washington Post poll shows Americans are split on whether Kavanaugh should be confirmed. Janae Norman, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
It's one thing to knock a book about by Omarosa, but Bob Woodward of Watergate fame, that's a little bit tougher to dismiss. In writing Fear Trump in the White House, Woodward spoke to a number of White House senior staff and cabinet officials. In the book, Woodward writes, Chief of Staff John Kelly described President Trump as, quote, an idiot, and Defense Secretary James Mattis describing Trump as having the understanding of, quote, a 5th or 6th grader on the issue of America's military presence in South Korea, according to the reporting in the Washington Post. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders slammed the book, saying it contains nothing but fabricated stories. Arizona Governor Doug Ducey announcing he is appointing former Senator John Kyle to replace the late John McCain in the Senate. Kyle's appointment means the Republicans will be able to vote on Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation. That's noteworthy because Kyle has been helping Kavanaugh during the confirmation process. Kyle will replace McCain until a special election is held at the same time in November 2020's general election. McCain's widow, Cindy McCain, praised the selection of Kyle on Twitter, calling him a dear friend. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.